right, gentlemen, put your hands together to one of my favorites, Mr. Topher Riddle! Hey, everybody! I'm about to have fun up here, whether you like it or not, so you might as well just come along for the ride. There's a thing that I wanted to do really quick before I get started. I was watching a marathon of Full House, as you do sometimes, and I noticed a lot of those old '90s TV shows. I love the opening credits because it's always like the actor is doing something like throwing a football or pushing their kid on a bike, and then they notice that the camera is watching them, and like look up and like give a smile to the camera while their name comes across. And I always wanted to do that, so I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to be reading a newspaper and pretend that I notice you guys, the camera, and when I smile at you, just imagine Topher Riddle. So this is me reading the newspaper.
Topher Riddle.
Yeah, I just, really stupid, but I wanted to get that out of the way. There was a guy here last week who was pretty crazy. Like, he'd seen all of our YouTube videos, all the comics, and he came up to me before the show and he was like, Topher Riddler, because that's what he called me. He called me Topher Riddler. I guess he called me Topher Riddlin later on in the night as he had more alcohol, but at this point he was like, Topher Riddler, man, that is a great comedy name. One of these days you gotta tell me the story about how you got that name. And I was like, all right, I'll tell you right now. Well, how did you get your name? And he's like, I was born and my parents gave it to me. And I was like, prepare to have your mind blown by this coincidence. Same deal. Riddle, that's my actual last name. I went through this thing where I kind of had this shy thing going on. I was really shy. It was this little phase that I was going through for like 30 years. But I've decided to break out of that. When I was the shy guy, it wasn't really my style to just go up to a girl and be like, hey, you know, and then hit on her, like whatever you say. I don't know, because I never did it. My style is more like, oh, hey, that girl over there is really attractive. I sure hope she checks the missed connections section on Craigslist tomorrow. But all that is about to change because a couple of things happened a few weeks ago. One, I saw myself do stand-up on YouTube, and I am great. I deserve it, thank you. And number two, I own a mirror, and I looked and I was like, that guy is adorable. So I'm going to try this confidence thing for a while. Yeah, that's, which, like, if I meet somebody and they don't fall in love with me when they meet me, I have to question their intelligence. Like, I was talking to a girl a while back, and it was going really well. We talked for like 15 minutes, really hit it off. And then this guy walked by, and she goes, oh, look at that guy. That guy's really attractive. I'm going to go talk to him. And I was like, what? We were getting along so well. What are you doing? And she just looks me in the eye and goes, mood swings are my jam, son. And then she walked away to go follow that guy. She chose poorly. Because I've done cool things. I was thinking about this. Like, I've been, in the past, I have been a stuntman at an amusement park, jumping off buildings and crashing through windows. I was a rodeo clown for a little while. Like, cool things, but it feels weird just walking up to a woman and telling her that in the first conversation. It feels like bragging, so then I gotta figure out ways to slip that information into my comedy act. Yeah, my mom has been asking me when I'm going to give her grandkids, and I'm not ready for kids. So that was weird. Well, like my best friend asked me if I would be the godfather of his kid, his 5-year-old, and I was just like, what do you? Like, I'm not ready for that. But what do I say to that? Like, oh, you want to give me the most important thing to you in the entire world? No, thanks. I'm good. You know, like I'm nonchalantly turning down a second helping of pie, which, let's be honest, I've never turned down. I've never turned down a second helping of pie, so I can only imagine that that's what that's like. But yeah, my friend's kid is he's really cool. Like he's 5 years old, and it's fun to hang out with him because he's 5. He doesn't judge me for being into things like comic books or Doctor Who. So, you know, like my friend's 5-year-old has never said to me, dude, you are way too excited about this new X-Men movie, grow up. Adults have said that to me. Lots of adults have said that to me. But my friend's 5-year-old has never said that to me. I'm still very good at this. Despite this lull, I'm still very good at this. But yeah, this kid, my friend's kid, like I'm not ready for kids, but then I work at the Children's Museum down the street in the gift shop, and yesterday we had these 2 little girls come in, like 5 years old and 9 years old, and I was doing my regular, like, cheery greeting the customer thing, and I was like, hey, have you guys been here before? And the 9-year-old was like, no, we're just visiting, we're from Minnesota. And I was like, oh, awesome. Have you seen Fargo? And the 9-year-old goes, yeah, I've seen it. And I was like, what? You have not seen Fargo? And then she started to describe to me in detail the final scenes of Fargo. And I was like, yeah, that was me when I was a kid. Like, my parents would show me, like, my dad didn't care about showing me inappropriate movies for my age. Like, I saw a lot of movies with, there'd be like drug addicts and drug dealers in them. And for the longest time, I always thought that, I guess if you're on drugs, you have to wear a belt around your arm like it's part of some kind of junky uniform. Like, you know, this is me as a little kid thinking this. And it's like, yeah, like some sort of junky uniform, the belt around the arm. And then one day I was out at a store with my dad, and a friend of his walks up, and he's talking to us, and he's sniffling the whole time. And after he left, I was like, Dad, what was with that guy? He's acting really weird. And my dad was like, I'm not going to lie to you. That guy's on drugs. And I was just like, oh, Dad, you stupid man. He's clearly not on drugs, because if he was on drugs, he'd have a belt around his arm to let all of us know that he's on drugs. And then once in my elementary school, a friend of mine was like, yeah, my dad got so mad at me this weekend that he got out the belt. And I was just like, oh my God, what did you do that was so bad that you drove your father to drugs? And my friend was like, you see, this is what you get in my house when you spill paint in the garage. That didn't happen. That's from Breakfast Club. Yeah, I did. Like I said, we watched a lot of movies growing up. My parents didn't think anything of it. I dated a girl who, her family, they never went to the movies. And the few that she has seen, she's bad at describing them. And so on our first date, I was asking her if she had a favorite movie, and she was like, there's a movie that I really liked, I don't remember the name of it, but it's about these 3 best friends who live on an island and they go fishing together. And I had no idea what movie she was talking about. And then like a week later, we're at my apartment and I'm flipping through channels and she's like, go back, that was that movie I was talking about. So I went back to the channel with the movie on it, and I was like, when you said it was a movie about three best friends who live on an island together and go fishing, Jaws? Jaws was the movie? Like, why didn't you just say shark? I'm pretty sure if you just said shark, I would have guessed Jaws. And she's like, I forgot that it had a shark in it. So you forgot that that's like forgetting about the snakes in Snakes on a Plane, or ghosts in the movie Ghost. So that ended. And it's funny because like with her, like earlier, the not being ready for kids thing, we had actually had a conversation at some point in our relationship about having kids and what we would name them. And she was like, I think I would name our kids something traditional, maybe biblical, like Mary for a girl and Michael for a boy. What would you name our kids? And I was like, I don't know. I think for a boy, I'd call him like Ethan. And then for a girl, I think I would name her Syphilis. Because I think it would help keep the boys away. My mom hates that joke because she's like, one of these days you're going to tell that joke to an audience and somebody in that audience is going to have syphilis and then you're going to feel really bad. But my girlfriend couldn't be here tonight. And I'm up on stage. So thanks everybody, that's it for me.